Welcome back, guys. This is Maverick here, and today we're going to be continuing our watch of Assassin's Pride. Now, we have 3 episodes until the end. I believe this is a 12-episode series, so this should be the last arc, right? With last episode, we finished the previous arc where we learned a little bit more about the backstory of both Kufa and of Rossetti, although things were mostly reset towards the end there. The only thing that has advanced, though, is the relationship between Kufa and Melida, right? So, I guess they are kinda sorta in a relationship now. I mean, they've literally kissed already. I would think that they, you know, it's sort of ambiguous, but I think that's pretty much confirmed by this point, right? There's no more beating around the bush and whatnot. And how is that going to affect their dynamic going forward, right? Now that they are maybe not officially in a relationship, but pretty much they know they have feelings for each other and they have confirmed it to each other, right? So, in any case, let's hope that the series ends on a strong note, and let's see what the last arc is. Alright, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. Right back to normal classes, right? Oh, I do want to know. Samurai agility, fencer defense, gladiator superior strength. Hey, what about the rest? Oh, alright. Right into the story, right? Alright. See you guys in a second. And back. The Lady Burnf Library. Ooh. Final exams until they graduate. When the sun and moon were still present, so it's not present now? Wow. Oh. Alright. And of course, things aren't gonna be that simple. Yeah, this should be... Honestly, this should have been very easy to see. Hey, that's the head, isn't that the head maid? A duke, eh? So one of the three big houses. She's actually trying to help her, right? Right, this guy probably wants to bring down the House of Angel. Further advance his own house, I'm presuming. I mean, we basically skipped an entire section, so honestly, we don't even know like how close she is with Melida. An alternate fountain pen. So it doesn't write facts? And it's actually Angel. Is that also part of the Huh. Okay. Well, that escalated quickly. Hmm. Right. At the same time, though, she does know she's not really officially of the House of Angel, right? I mean, the fact that she doesn't have the Paladin mana should be proof of that. I mean, I've had this question since the very first episodes. Like, regardless of how strong she becomes, the fact that she's not using a Paladin mana still doesn't change. And I still don't understand how all the others are not able to see through, her, the kind of abilities that she's using, the kind of stance, the kind of weapon she's using, so on and so forth. Like, go on a date? See, even the weapons they used are so different. How can nobody tell that she's not of the Paladin class? Like, that makes literally no sense at all. But I guess it's best to just drop it. But all the, the mysteries of this world, the architecture, so on and so forth, that is definitely something that is a strong point of this anime. Like, don't get me wrong. I have lots of problems with its actual story and character development and animation, but the world design is not one of them. I think the world design is really cool. And of course it's tentacles. Ooh. Hmm. The Duke? Oh, another Duke.
し訳ありません。メリダお嬢様の家庭教師、クーファ・バンピールと申します。
メリダとブラマンジェ学院長はどうしたのかね。
お嬢様たちは今、ビブリア号と司書官認定試験に臨んでおられます。
1年生のメリダが認定試験に。お、なるほど。名目上の参加か。
恐れながら閣下、メリダお嬢様といとこのエリーゼ様は現在、本気で迷宮司書官の資格を得るためにビブリア号と探索しておられます。
迷宮司書官の資格などメリダには必要ない。今すぐ連れ戻したまえ。
必要ないとおっしゃいますと。
I mean, they are.
退学届だ。
Oh?
今年度をもってメリダを聖フリーデスウィーデから除籍させ本邸に連れ帰る。君も今日までご苦労だった。
お待ちを、フェルグスコ。なぜ今になって彼女の道を閉ざすような。
先日学院に現れた不審者の件は耳に入っている。これは私のミスだ。あの子を人前に出せば悪意ある者に付け入る材料を与えるだけだということは分かっていた。
せめてあと1年時間を見ていただければ、必ずや公爵閣下を満足させられるだけの成果をご報告できると。
君はメリダの可能性を高く買ってくれているようだが、あの子自身は自分の力量を正確に把握できていないのではないだろうか。
You know, this is the one guy that Kufa can't really go against.
ですが俺はお嬢様には無限の可能性があると感じております。
He is Maria's father, after all, and his employer.
俺は自負しております。世界中で誰よりもメリダ様のことを理解していると。クーファ先生、ロゼッティ先生、大変です。事務室にこのようなものが送りつけられて。
その印はギルド・グリムフィス。よこしたまえ。
Guild Grimfus? Alright.
カードの裏にはなんと
悪魔の欲は満ちた乙女の血で綴られた書物が無限の諸行を埋め尽くすだろう。
お嬢様たちが危ない。
And if you're going to do something to them, why would you even tell them? Huh. That was a nice tentacle. Gave them a ride.
お姉様たちは、学院長先生は、見て、これ。もしかして、もう認定試験が始まったのかも。何があったのか、よくわからないけど。進もう、リタ。
And like, how is this library even made?
何階層なのかな。確か私たち6等級の受験は5階層だったはず。そんなに深くて危険なところじゃ。大丈夫、エリー。
Like, come on, even the weapons they're using are so damn different. How can nobody tell she's not of Paladin class? Like, eh. Ooh. That's certainly a different attitude towards this. I mean, this is certainly good for her. She lacks experience, right? And the best way to gain this experience is by actual fighting. Not spars or whatnot. And here comes 4. Hey. Ooh, more than 4. Alright. Oh. AoE attack. It's these two. Oh, it's been one arc. So are they here to help? Are they here to expose her? Or what? Everything will be revealed in the next episode. Alright, see you guys at the end. Alright, so we have Melida and Salasha back with us again, and so the quartet is complete, right? I will say this though, one thing that's kind of annoying me about this series so far, well, a lot of things annoy me, right? But the thing is here that I feel like it just doesn't seem like any progression is made, right? And what I mean by this is that literally from the last arc we had large developments between Kufa and Melida, and we had large developments in regards to Rose's backstory. It's never, you know, we don't see any evidence of it ever happening right here. The last arc could have been completely skipped over, and we could have just gone into this arc from the last arc, and literally nothing wouldn't be out of place, right? It's not like their relationship with each other showed any development. Same with Mila and Salasha as well, right? Literally, last time we saw them, they were like close sisters almost, or close friends with Melida, and now all of a sudden it seemed, you know, they seem to be a little bit distant. Like, you know, I can get that right now, they're sort of, you know, we are not entirely sure if they're friend or foe, right? Like, perhaps this entire thing is being set up by that sort of organization or whatnot. We don't know because it's never really explained really much in regards to their positions and their relationship with Melida in the past few arcs. But at the very least, the last time we saw them, they were quite close, right? Almost, you know, like close friends and whatnot, sleeping on the same bed together and doing stuff together and whatnot. So I don't know, it just seems like no progression has been made and everything is being reset every single time a new arc comes in, right? So that is something that I feel like this really could, it really could use some work, right? If the light novel itself is also like this, then I guess I have nothing to say, but I know, perhaps they adapted it out of order, something like that, or maybe there's a lot of stuff in between that they cut out, so that would better explain, you know, the different attitudes and whatnot, in regards to their relationships. But we don't have that, right? We don't have that. I feel like at this point, you know, it should be fairly obvious that this anime is really just used as a sort of promotional material for the light novel. Like, they really, like, it's not a very cohesive adaptation, let's just say. There's a lot of holes missing within the story that I presume they're trying to get you to go read the light novel. And I'm not a big fan of this kind of method because my stance has always been that an animation should be able to stand on its own regardless of a original material. But whatever, right? And you know, the usual problems I have, I'm not even going to touch on anything in regards to the actual animation quality, right? But you know, just the basic stories, I feel like some things they needed to, at least for me anyways, I would have a much better time getting into this series if some of my my questions could be answered here, right? Going back to the very beginning, I mentioned before that the whole reason that I wanted to watch this series and wanted to continue watching it forward is because I feel like they have a very unique, well, I guess I shouldn't say unique, but a very enticing, at least for me, a very attractive system in place with all the classes and whatnot. I really dig the world design. It's not grim dark, but it's definitely not your usual run of the mill fantasy as well. It's not dark fantasy, but it's not. The opposite of it isn't exactly bright fantasy, but it's not like it's not like all sunshine and rainbows, right? But it's not like grim dark, as in there's murder and rape and whatnot and pillaging going on all the time and so on and so forth. But it has this very, I don't know, this very sort of gothic tone, I guess you could say, in regards to the architecture and the monsters and stuff. But and that is something that attracts me, right? Like I mentioned here, like the Lady Nymph is a pretty cool concept conceptually. I just would like to learn more, right? And sadly, that doesn't seem to be what this series is going to focus on, because it's just literally one big advertisement for the light novel. And so, sad face for me, but I guess for those who already who already read the light novel, this is basically, I guess, fan service for you guys, right? And so, yeah, that's about it. In regards to how this arc is going to play out, I'm guessing that in the end, Melida still manages to pass the examination, and in the process also convince her father that she has the ability to take care of herself, so she wants to continue studies here, and her father will probably relent as well and allow her to continue studying here, right? And by the way, like the entire dynamic between Melida and her father, and what actually happened, like what lineage does Melida actually come from, all these things, they've basically been put aside, right? Even though it's a large part of the backstory and indeed how this story began in the first place, we really don't have any further information in regards to this, right? So but it's whatever. I guess we can just look at these as individual arcs and mini stories, if you will, that don't really have a sort of relation to each other. But yeah, anyways, I feel like at the end, Merida's gonna pass the test. And I would mostly say that Mew and what's her name? Mew and Salasha, they're probably going to be more on Merida's side, right? They'll probably help cover up for her. Like, again, I have no idea how nobody can spot that she is a freaking samurai and not a paladin. It's pretty obvious just by the way that she fights. But anyways, they're probably going to use some sort of method to fool the world and say, hey, look, Melida is a really strong paladin and she managed to pass this test even though she's just a first year, right? And that's going to be able to at least convince, for the time being, the general public that she is one of the true heirs of the House of Angels. So, there we go. That's my review of episode 10. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.